When talking about the most revolutionary video games of all time, especially in regards to 3D ones, it's pretty much a guarantee that Super Mario 64 will be mentioned. Widely considered one of the best games of all time, it's not hard to see why. So let's take this trip down memory lane as we explore Super Mario 64. Before, the Mario console games were fairly linear as you traveled to each world in a rigid order and typically in a straight line. With the more bits and three-dimensional space afforded to the game makers, they decided to switch things up a bit by making this a game where you're more meant to explore and take in the surroundings. This is particularly emphasized by the lack of a ticking clock in the corner, thus allowing you all the time in the world to explore every nook and cranny of each level. In each level, there are little secrets hidden throughout, and I actually find the most fun aspect of Super Mario 64 is going into every inch of it and taking full advantage of Mario's abilities. I also love how each level is unique and special, each feeling like a whole new adventure with its own set of challenges and puzzles. While you have missions like collecting every red coin that appear in almost every level, it never feels repetitive when completing each one. Even when a level revisits an earlier theme like a snowland or water-filled cavern, it's distinctive and creative. Every world in Super Mario 64 is that imaginative, with one notable level allowing you to become either massive in size or extremely tiny. Another favorite level of mine is the Haunted Mansion, which is full of awesome rooms and secrets and many a boo. As with any video game, the levels get more difficult the further you go through. The levels on the first floor are relatively easy, with maybe a couple of challenging parts here and there. But once you get to Tick-Tock Clock on the third floor, that's when things get really challenging, especially if you don't time the jump into the clock just right. Then there's Rainbow Ride, where you have to be absolutely precise in your movements or else you fall deep down into the abyss and you have to go ride on the carpet all over again. Some of the toughest levels are the ones where you have to fight Bowser. You have to be absolutely precise in how you throw him. The first two Bowser battles aren't too hard once you get into the swing of things, but I've yet to beat the final one, and that is despite having gotten all 120 stars in Super Mario 64. I know what I have to do, but it can be a real challenge getting him to hit the bomb at the exact spot, and the constant fire and electrical rings that surround you don't help matters. Bowser destroying the platform adds to the difficulty. I'll beat this part eventually, but it has not happened yet as of the recording of this video. The bonus levels also play a key role in how you progress in the game, as they give you necessary power-ups. Then there are the bonus levels that exist mainly for purposes of fun, like Princess Peach's Slide. Then you have the option of collecting 100 coins in each level, which provides its own amount of fun, as it forces you to really explore everything without missing any section. And you can even try and best your coin collection high score if you see fit. Once you've got all 120 stars, it's hard not to smile at the treat we're given. What works in getting one into the atmosphere of Super Mario 64 is the wonderful music by Koji Kondo. The game instantly begins with a classic theme, and then once we enter the magical world of the Mushroom Kingdom, Kondo lets out a whole orchestral wave of beautiful music. From the calming sounds of the swimming levels to the quick bluegrass music of the racing levels, each piece of the score is memorable and perfectly fitting. Kondo shows an amazing ability at being excellent at writing both happy, cheery music as well as dark and foreboding. The key with video game music is, because it's on a continuous loop, the composer has to make sure you don't go crazy listening to the thing. Koji Kondo actually makes me want to listen to the music even when not playing the game, so he's definitely doing something right. This being one of the first Nintendo 64 games, the controls are definitely a product of the time. I personally have little problem as I find Mario easily controllable, and I like the quickness of each Mario move, as well as the variety of jumps he's given. The hardest to get used to are swimming and flying. Swimming is actually quite easy to learn, though it is a little hard when trying to attain a specific coin or fight an enemy in the water. Flying can also take a long time to learn, and it's especially tricky in the two secret flying levels. There's a reason those were the final stars I attained in Super Mario 64. Altitude is important, as you need the right launching off point to get to where you want to go, and landing is especially difficult because you don't want to find yourself dropping or hurtling in an undesirable or harmful spot. The camera is also mostly decent, though there can be spots where you want to turn the camera somewhere and it won't let you. Despite those few issues, I recognize Super Mario 64 as a product of its time, and one that holds up incredibly well. There's just something really fun and immersive about Super Mario 64. Even though video games have certainly gotten more technologically advanced since then, it still holds an immense charm and playability factor. Now, if you want to hear some video game players go through the game in hilarious fashion, I highly recommend the Game Grumps playthrough of Super Mario 64. It's definitely one of their best ones, as they go from being ace players to fumbling at every turn. But to their credit, they inspired me to recently finally get all 120 stars. So, give the Game Grumps Let's Play a look, and I'll see you next time.